We live in an era of great discoveries. We have technologies that our ancestors could not even dream of. But the more we learn, the more we realize that the past holds secrets that we still cannot solve. Ancient civilizations have left us riddles, challenges, and unanswered questions. Who were they? How did they manage something that is beyond the control of even modern science? And what secrets did they take with them? History is not just about dates and facts. This is a detective story that has been going on for millennia. And we're just starting the investigation. Welcome to the channel. The Bermuda Triangle. That name alone makes hearts beat faster. The area between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, where dozens of ships and planes have disappeared without a trace over the past 100 years. Where experienced pilots lost their bearings, and ships disappeared without an SOS signal. According to legend, portals to other dimensions operate here, aliens live, and the laws of physics stop working. Mysterious lights, unexplained magnetic anomalies, and disappearances that science cannot explain. But is this really the case? Why has the number of disasters in the Bermuda Triangle decreased dramatically in recent decades? And what is really going on in this area? Today we will analyze the most convincing scientific theories that explain the secrets of the Bermuda Triangle. Without mysticism, just the facts and the latest discoveries of scientists. The Bermuda Triangle is a notional region with an area of about 1.2 million square kilometers in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean. Miami, Florida, Bermuda, and San Juan, Puerto Rico, are considered its corners. The first reports of oddities in the area appeared 500 years ago. Christopher Columbus himself wrote in his diary in 1492 that he saw strange lights on the horizon and observed unusual behavior of the compass. But the real legend was born in the 20th century. The most notorious case occurred on December 5, 1945. 5 U.S. Navy training bombers, known as Flight 19, took off on a training mission. The pilots reported failures in navigation devices and incorrect operation of compasses. Then the connection was lost. The plane sent to search for it also disappeared without a trace. No wreckage was found. This case was the starting point. In 1964, journalist Vincent Gaddis called the area the Bermuda Triangle in an article for Argosy magazine. A few years later, writer Charles Berlitz released a book that sold millions of copies. In it, he described dozens of disappearances and suggested the most fantastic versions, from aliens to Atlantis. The only problem is that Berlitz embellished the facts, and even openly distorted them. In 1975, librarian and pilot Lawrence Cush decided to check all the facts outlined by Berlitz. And I discovered shocking things. It turns out that many of the disappearances that Berlitz attributed to the Bermuda Triangle occurred far beyond its borders. In one case, a ship that supposedly disappeared in the Atlantic actually sank in the Pacific Ocean. In another, a ship declared missing simply returned to port late. And some of the disasters that Berlitz described as happening during a calm actually occurred during powerful storms. Couchet also found out that the number of disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle does not exceed the statistics for any other busy area of the ocean. It's just that they haven't been widely reported before. Insurance companies also confirm this. Lloyd's of London, one of the largest insurers in the world, has long determined that the Bermuda Triangle is no more dangerous than any other area. And it does not charge increased tariffs for passage through it. Oceanographer Simon Boxall from the University of Southampton puts it bluntly. Most scientists ignore the Bermuda Triangle because there is nothing there. But if there's nothing there, why did the ships and planes disappear anyway? One of the most compelling scientific theories is rogue waves, or killer waves. These are giant walls of water up to 30 meters high that occur when several storms meet at one point. Oceanographer Simon Boxall explains, the largest waves from a single storm reach 10 to 12 meters. But when 2 or 3 storms collide, their waves interact. If the peaks of the waves match, they add up. And then a 20 or even 30-meter wave appears in place of a 10-meter wave. Imagine a ship 300 meters long. 2 huge waves approach it from different directions. One lifts her nose, the other her stern. And there's a void in the middle. The ship finds itself without support. Its central part is not held by water, and the vessel simply breaks in half. Boxall compares this to splashing in a bathtub. When 2 waves collide, a large splash appears, which quickly disappears. Such waves are almost impossible to predict. They come suddenly and disappear just as suddenly. In the open ocean, a ship can encounter such a wave and sink in a matter of minutes, without an SOS signal, without the ability to report a disaster. Moreover, researchers from the University of Southampton conducted experiments that showed that killer waves can destroy even supertankers 400 meters long. Another popular scientific theory is related to natural gas, methane. There are huge deposits of methane hydrates, ice-like compounds of gas and water, on the ocean floor in the Bermuda Triangle. Sometimes these deposits explode. Due to tectonic shifts or pressure changes, methane is released in huge bubbles. And that's where the fun begins. Scientists from the University of Southern Methodists in Dallas conducted an experiment. They created a model ship and released a large bubble under it. The result was amazing. Water with gas bubbles becomes less dense. Its density decreases so much that the ship loses its buoyancy and sinks instantly. Moreover, methane can also affect airplanes. If a cloud of gas rises into the air, the internal combustion engines may stall. And the pilots, seeing the strange behavior of the instruments, lose their orientation. Researcher Ronald Capper suggests that there was once an active field of methane emissions in the Bermuda Triangle area. It could explain the surge in disappearances in the middle of the 20th century. And then the field was depleted or became less active, which explains the sharp decrease in the number of incidents in recent decades. There is a third theory, the meteorological one. In 2016, scientists noticed strange clouds over the Bermuda Triangle. They had a perfect hexagonal shape. Meteorologists Randy Cervini and Stephen Miller analyzed satellite images and found the same clouds over the North Sea. There they created winds of up to 170 km per hour and generated waves up to 15 meters high. How does it work? Hexagonal clouds are air bombs. In their center, descending airflows are formed, microburst. They hit the surface of the ocean, creating giant waves. If a ship or plane finds itself in such an area, the consequences can be catastrophic. However, the scientists themselves admit that this theory has not yet been fully proven. Randy Cervini later remarked that the Science Channel made a big discovery out of it, even though it's not really true. Nevertheless, the hypothesis remains one of the most discussed. So, what do we have? The Bermuda Triangle is not an anomalous zone in the supernatural sense. Scientists have found several scientific explanations for its mysteries: killer waves, methane emissions, and unusual weather events. But the main discovery may lie on the surface. Please note, most of the mysterious disappearances occurred before the 1980s. With the development of satellite communications, GPS navigation and monitoring systems, the number of incidents has decreased dramatically. Why? Because ships and planes used to be practically blind. A storm, instrument failure, or navigational error in the open ocean could be fatal. And the satellites that track each ship in real time simply leave no room for mystery. Moreover, the researchers calculated that the intensity of shipping in the Bermuda Triangle is one of the highest in the world. But the number of accidents here does not exceed the average for any other busy route. The U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, stated back in 2010, there is no evidence that mysterious disappearances occur in the Bermuda Triangle with greater frequency than in any other large, well-studied ocean area. So there is no mystery? Exists. But this mystery is not in mysticism, but in how the human brain likes to look for patterns where there are none. How one wrong book can create a myth that lives on for decades. And how science, facts and common sense are gradually, step by step, debunking the most persistent legends. Imagine a place that locals call the space between things. A place where the spirits of the dead dwell, ready to punish anyone who enters without respect. A place that is so mysterious that archaeologists still can't figure out how it was built. This is Nan Madol, Pacific Venice, a city built on 100 artificial islands in the middle of the ocean. The city consists of giant basalt columns, some of which weigh 80 to 90 tons. A city that was the capital of a powerful dynasty that ruled for hundreds of years. And then he disappeared. Welcome to Nan Madol, the lost city of Micronesia, where stones flew through the air, magic built palaces, and the climate destroyed the empire. Today we will go to the heart of the Pacific Ocean to understand the main mysteries of this place. Who built it? How could ancient people move 750,000 tons of basalt without metal and wheels? Why was the city abandoned? And what lessons can this story teach us today? Nan Madol is located off the east coast of Pohnpei Island, the main island of the Federated States of Micronesia in the Pacific Ocean. The nearest continent is thousands of kilometers away. This is one of the most isolated places on Earth where an advanced civilization has ever existed. What is there? Imagine more than 90 artificial islands built on a coral reef and connected by a network of channels. From above, it looks like a spider's web, stretching 1.5 kilometers long and half a kilometer wide. Each island is surrounded by double walls of massive basalt columns, and inside it is filled with coral chips. Once there were palaces of rulers, temples, tombs, apartment buildings and even a prison. The highest walls reached 7.5 meters. The grandest tomb, Nandeyuvas, occupies an area larger than a football field, and its walls rise 7.5 meters. The total weight of all basalt structures is estimated at 750,000 tons. And all this was built by the hands of people who did not have metal tools, wheels, blocks, or even writing. Nan Madol is not called the Pacific Venice by chance. Like Venice, it stands on water, is connected by canals, and was once a center of commerce and power. But unlike Venice, Nan Madol was built in complete isolation from the rest of the world. The question that has plagued scientists for 2 centuries now is, how? How did the ancient inhabitants of Pohnpei, whose population did not exceed 30,000 people, manage to build a structure of 750,000 tons of stone? Let's look at the numbers. According to archaeologists, the construction of Nan Madol lasted 3 to 4 centuries. During this time, it was necessary to extract, move and stack an average of 1,850 tons of basalt per year. Every year, for 400 years, the basalt columns were mined in the Soaks quarry on the opposite side of the island, more than 40 kilometers from Nan Madol. Some columns reach 6 meters in length and weigh 80 to 90 tons. Even today, moving a 90-ton stone 40 kilometers away is a daunting engineering task. And the ancient builders had no metal tools, no wheels, no winches. How did they do it? Local legends give a simple answer: magic. Oral traditions tell of 2 sorcerer brothers, Olasikpa and Olasikpa, who arrived on Pohnpei from a far country. They possessed supernatural abilities. They could make basalt columns fly through the air and stack them one on top of the other. Legends say that the brothers built Nan Madol as a place of worship for the god of agriculture, Nanasan Sapv. One of the brothers died, and the other became the first ruler of the Saudalar dynasty, which ruled Pohnpei for hundreds of years. But science is looking for more prosaic explanations. One of the hypotheses is that the basalt columns were floated on rafts at high tide. Scientists believe that the builders used natural cracks in the basalt to split the columns. To do this, they heated the stone with bonfires, and then cooled it sharply with water. The stone cracked along natural lines. Then the columns were loaded onto rafts and taken to the construction site at high tide. There they were lifted using wooden levers and ropes, laid into the walls without using mortar, only due to weight and precise fit. But these are just hypotheses. No one knows exactly how the 90-ton columns were lifted to a height of 7 meters. And this makes Nan Madol one of the most mysterious places on Earth. Magic aside, what do we know about builders? The first humans appeared on Pohnpei about 2,000 years ago, around the time of the Roman Empire. They lived in wooden houses on stilts. But the real heyday began later. Around 1100 AD, a centralized government began to form on the island. Archaeologists have discovered that by 1180 the first monumental monument was built here, the tomb of the ruler. By 1200, the Saudalar dynasty had firmly established its power. The rulers themselves bore the title, Sao, which meant Lord. They ruled from the island city of Nan Madol, which became their administrative and religious capital. What is known about life in Nan Madol? The city was divided into 2 parts. Upper Nan Madol, Madol Pova, was the administrative center. Here, on the island of Pankedira, was the ruler's palace, surrounded by guest houses for the nobility and foreign ambassadors. Lower Nan Madol, Madol Pa, was a religious and funerary center. Here, on the island of Nandeyuvas, was the main tomb of the dynasty. The society was strictly hierarchical. The size of the houses reflected the social status. The common people lived on the mainland and only served the nobility. The elite lived on artificial islands, separated from ordinary mortals by walls and water. The rulers demanded tribute, food, water, labor. They controlled every step of their subjects. Perhaps it is this control that has become too heavy over time. Legends say that the Sodalair dynasty turned from gentle rulers into cruel tyrants. They forced people to sacrifice sacred turtles, and they ate only the best meat. In the 17th century, the Sodalair dynasty fell. Legends say that they were overthrown by the demigod Isokalekal, the son of the god of thunder, who came from the east, defeated tyrants and established a new system of government. But recent discoveries show that there was another reason for the fall, a more prosaic and frighteningly familiar one. In 2024, an international group of scientists led by Professor Chuan-Cho Shen from Taiwan University published a sensational study. Using the uranium-thorium dating method, they analyzed 171 coral samples used in construction and 18 charcoal samples. Their discovery turned everything we knew about Nan Madol upside down. It turned out that construction began 2 centuries earlier than previously thought, in the 10th century. But most importantly, scientists have discovered a link between the city's history and climate change. Pohnpei Island is slowly sinking. After a volcanic eruption, the Earth's crust cools and contracts by about 1 millimeter per year. Over 1,000 years, this has led to a relative rise in sea level of more than a meter. Climatic fluctuations were added to this. In the 12th and 14th centuries, La Nina phenomena became more frequent, bringing strong winds to the western Pacific Ocean and raising the water level. Waves from the east began to hit the walls of Nan Madol, destroying them. The researchers calculated that by 1180, sea levels had risen so much that many canals and buildings were underwater. The rulers had to constantly repair the walls, build new fortifications, and spend more and more resources on protection from the ocean. This has created a vicious circle. More and more people and more work were needed to keep the city afloat. The discontent of the population grew. And when Isokalekal appeared, a real historical figure, whose remains, by the way, were found in 1907, and they turned out to be much larger than ordinary human beings, the people were ready to revolt. The Sodalair dynasty has fallen. Nan Madol was abandoned. Today, Nan Madol is a place where history, legend and nature are intertwined in one tight knot. Most of the city is hidden under water or overgrown with mangrove forests. The canals that once served as roads have filled with silt. The walls collapse under the impact of the waves. In 2016, Nan Madol was included in the UNESCO World Heritage List, and at the same time in the list of sites under threat. But there are other mysteries. At the bottom around Nan Madol, divers find basalt columns extending into the depths. This means that the city was bigger than it seems today. Maybe it extended further into the ocean before the sea swallowed it up. What about the legends of the giants? Locals still believe that spirits live in Nan Madol. They say that you need to get permission from the local chief before entering the territory, otherwise the spirits will punish the intruder. In 1907, German Governor Victor Berg opened the tomb of Isokalekal. He died the next day. The official reason is sunstroke. But the locals know the truth. And finally, the most important mystery. How? How did people without metal and wheels build a city out of 750,000 tons of stone that still stands today? Scientists can only guess. And the locals just shrug their shoulders. Our ancestors did it. With the help of magic. Or maybe with the help of knowledge that we have lost. The name, Nan Madol, in the local language means, the space between things, or, the space between worlds. And this name perfectly describes the place. Nan Madol is located between land and sea, between sky and water, between the world of the living and the world of the dead. He exists on the borderline, physical and metaphysical. It's not really a city, and it's not really a temple. He's not really a story, and he's not really a legend. And he's still waiting for us to solve his mysteries. How were the 90-ton stones moved? Why did the dynasty fall just then? What is hidden under the water? And is it true that spirits live here? We don't know. Maybe we'll never know. But while Nan Madol stands, half submerged, half hidden by mangrove forests, it reminds us that the past is always more than we know about it. And in every corner of our planet there are places that hold secrets beyond the control of modern science. Every ancient structure is not just a pile of stones. This is a message left to us by people who lived thousands of years ago. A message that we still can't figure out. And while scientists are arguing and the waves of time continue to destroy these monuments, there remains only one question. Maybe we are looking for answers in the wrong place? Maybe these mysteries are not a challenge to our technology, but a reminder that history is always more complicated than we think. Thank you for being with us. Subscribe so that you don't miss new trips to the past. And write in the comments, which mystery of ancient civilization surprises you the most? See you in the next video.